So President Donald Trump announces that he and First Lady Melania Trump have COVID-19. This sends the world and, of course, the Twitter universe in a state of shock and a lot of jokes. Now, this is the moment where, of course, we're supposed to show sympathy. We're supposed to express our deepest condolences and hope for a speedy recovery despite political differences. Yeah, I got nothing. I can't do that. This is not a normal situation. This is a situation where someone has created the very problem that they're suffering from. This is a president who has enabled the death of over 200,000 Americans, who has refused to take accountability, who has refused to do all the things that are possible and on the table to prevent future deaths. This is somebody who at the presidential debates openly mocked Joe Biden for wearing a mask. Now, I don't find any pleasure in Donald Trump being sick. I don't find any pleasure in him being threatened by this illness the way hundreds of thousands of others have. But my sympathy reserve is going to be for those people who are catching the most hell because of the problem he created. Now, some of y'all don't even believe that this is real. Some of y'all think that this is all a big hoax. And I understand why you might believe that. First of all, Donald Trump is a serial liar. He lies about everything from his taxes to policies to statements he's made on Twitter and at press conferences. So I get why you won't believe him. And I understand why someone might think this. If we think Donald Trump is vulnerable, people might be less likely to come out and vote because they think he's not going to make it anyway. There are people who think that this will be his way of getting sympathy. There are people who think that this might be a distraction from his taxes and from those awful tapes that came out on Melania Trump where she's minimizing kids in cages and making fun or mocking holidays and stuff like that. I mean, I could see why Donald Trump would want this to be a distraction. He wants to forget that awful debate performance. So making up an illness could be true, but I don't think he's making it up. I think he's sick, and I think he got sick because he didn't respect the rules and boundaries that his own health advisors gave him. He didn't follow the rules that he said the White House had in place. And as a result of not wearing a mask, of not following the instructions, of basically mocking any type of preventive care for COVID-19, he's now in the boat that he's in. But we can't allow this to stop us from doing what we need to do. We got to be clear about that. If Donald Trump has COVID-19 and cannot campaign, it doesn't mean that his surrogates aren't campaigning. It doesn't mean that he's not advancing his campaign through financial contributions. It doesn't mean that he's still not on a path to win. We got to block him at all turns. And if he manages to come out in 10 days or 14 days after a COVID-19 quarantine, he can say, well, look, I told you it wasn't a big deal. See, I told you this was nothing, and look like a hero. If God forbid something were to happen to him, he could become a martyr and erase his ugly history and allow someone else to become president, a Mike Pence, which you don't want, trust me. Our work doesn't stop because Donald Trump is sick. Yeah, you can get your jokes off. You can put up those memes. You can show all those videos of him making fun of Hillary Clinton with pneumonia and him mocking people with masks. You can do all of that stuff. He deserves all of that. Give him all the smoke. But after we do that, we got to keep organizing. We got to keep registering people to vote. We got to make sure that we bring people out to the polls to vote. We got to continue to spread this information, and we have to challenge the misinformation that the Trump campaign continues to put out. We got to continue to do the work. Otherwise, on November 4th, we'll have an outcome we don't want.